allow us to reintroduce ourselves. We are the mob. M to the O B. Memphis Over Bull live every Wednesday, 6 p.m. You know what we're here for. Clean up the city. Keep everybody reported on the real talk, on the real news. You all know. By now, we all understand what we're here for. If you don't, stay in tuned and we'll bring you along with things, right? Great show. Great show. It's crazy things, circumstances happen to you. I believe life is all about reaction, right? Because there were enough things that happened tonight that I could say, hey, you know what? Just push the show back to 7 p.m. All of my notes got deleted, right? So work with me. I know what I want to say, but I had things lined up. I had a very informative show. So there are things out here that try to prevent you from doing the right things and having the purest cause, right? Because everyone isn't for growing the city or growing people that need things or even waking people up on things that they need to know about, right? So let's get into it. I want to start with a little small history lesson about Memphis. Now that I had several notes, right? Several notes that were very important. You know, Memphis was founded in 1819, named after an Egyptian city by the Nile River. And, North Africa, this was all of these things. But these things are important because Memphis was a major trading point. And we all know the history of that part, right? But Orange Mound is where I'm from. And then some of these things that I've learned about our history is quite shocking. For me to have been someone who attended Melrose High School for 4 years, and many of my friends who watched the show went to Melrose as well. And there are things that we don't know, right? That we didn't learn. So I want to talk about this. Let's bring up the first story. I want to bring up a graphic that many people from Orange Mound are familiar with, right? So it pertains to this and it pertains to poverty. I want to know how we got here as to being one of the poorest cities in the country. Predominantly black city. Very lucrative. Where we are, right? You know the distribution capital. We all know, right? So this sign, I've seen this sign my entire life. Pass right by, but we use it as like the what could you say? This is where Orange Mound begins, right? Park and Airways. I've seen it many times, but most of us walk right by it and don't read it or understand the magnitude of it, right? It says Orange Mound, developed as a Negro subdivision at the turn of the century, was formerly a 5,000-acre plantation owned by John George Dedrick. Keep that in mind. People that went to Melrose understand Dedrick. If you don't, even if you didn't go to Melrose, we'll hip you to it, right? John George Dedrick, bounded by the Southern, Railway on the north, Airways on the west, Park on the south, and the Goodwin on the east, right? So they're all the four corners for Orange Mound. Memphis' oldest and best known African American community received its name from the row of mock orange shrubs in the side yard of the Dedrick home. So many people think Orange Mound got its name from having so many orange trees in the entire neighborhood that they just had to name it Orange Mound, when in all actuality, it's named after one slave owner's home, right? So, all right, so Memphis had, before the Civil War, right, Memphis had 3,000 blacks as its population. So after the Civil War, they rowed a boat down the Mississippi, and all of our brothers and sisters ran from the boat, from the ship, ran to Memphis, and all of a sudden the population has increased from 3,000 blacks to 20,000 blacks, right? So that happened. So from that happening, Memphis was doing pretty well for itself. Then the yellow fever epidemic came through, and 75% of Memphis residents died. Right? 75% of people in Memphis died. So we're talking slavery, Memphis prominent because of so many slaves that they had. Mississippi area, everyone's winning. Then yellow fever comes. People die. Well, first of all, before yellow fever, we were freed. So that hurt because you no longer have free labor, right? Yellow fever comes in. 75% of Memphians die, right? So during this time, Memphis was deemed not even a city. Memphis was no longer deemed a city. It was a district. It was dead bad. The population was so low. The economy was so bad. Right? So, right. I see you, Lisa. I see you. Right, Dedrick Street. We're getting somewhere. So what happens is, I want a man by the name of, give me 1 second. I don't want to mess his name up. It's Meacham. He's from New York. I'm going to get the exact name, right? LZ Eugene Meacham, right? From New York. White man. Came down from New York, seeing a few things in the South, like, wait. I see some money I could make, right? So, now at this point, Mr. Dedrick had passed on. He passed on in 1888, right? Things were terrible. So he comes down. So they find Mr. Dedrick's wife, the widow of Mr. Dedrick. She's still on the plantation. Things are looking terrible. So what Meacham does is say, hey, man, I want to buy some of your land, right? And allegedly, they don't have any evidence of this. They don't have anything written. But Mrs. Dedrick told him, hey, I'll sell you this property, but you cannot sell to the Negroes, right? So following that, Mr. Meacham told her he wouldn't, and that's exactly what he did, right? So starting at Orange Mound was the first place where black people could buy their own property and own their own property. So Orange Mound was the first neighborhood that was built by blacks and owned by blacks, and in the entire country, right? And so prominent doctors and lawyers and everyone moved here in Memphis because it was the only place where black people could own their own home. So, following that, so if you all know, the reason why I said something about Dedrick, right, was because Melrose High School is on Dedrick Avenue, right? Dedrick Avenue is the plantation where Mr. Dedrick owned so many of us, right? But we took that land upon ourselves and rebuilt, and we built our own school, black school, built on our own property, our own land, bought, which is Melrose High School, right? The history of Orange Mound. First in the entire country. First. Now, Harlem had a neighborhood, but I don't understand the policies of Harlem, but I understand that here, Orange Mound, you could buy your own land and property. So it was prominent. This is the most prominent land in the entire United States for black people. How did we get here? How in the hell did we get where we are right now? You gotta understand, man, what Orange Mound, not even just Orange Mound, what Memphis represents, right? So, in order to know that you're in poverty, first of all, I have to know what poverty is. And I started with this because we have to teach and educate each other and our children, because it's sad that I went to Melrose. My parents went to Melrose. My brothers went to Melrose. And we've never had a conversation about these things. Never had a conversation about these things. It just never came about. Like all of these Easter programs and Christmas programs we did in the school, you would think there would be something done annually within the schools to remind the students at Melrose where they are, where they come from, and what they have to hold down and continue. That creates a legacy of things. To know oneself. To know oneself. That is a dangerous individual who knows where he's coming from because he knows where he's going. And a lot of things that were done are being repeated, right? A lot of things that were done to us back even right after the Civil War, we're talking the late 1800s, right? I wonder why. I wonder what people would do if we reminded them, right? So that's just something to think about. Now, so keep that in mind. Many people don't know that Memphis was terrible, bro. So Memphis was built on the backs. Not only was it built on the backs of slaves before the Civil War, but it was built on the backs of blacks post-Civil War. right? Memphis. So now let's go to this right here, right? Because it's all talking about, we're going to get into the Malibu situation, and we want to talk about poverty. That's the name of the show. How did we get here, right? And we got to know our history first before we can speak about where we're going. So let's talk about the poverty line, because Memphis is determined as being one of the poorest cities in the United States. Many lists I've seen, the poorest city, because we are poverty stricken like no other. And it makes you wonder why. Let's get back to the main. Makes you wonder why, right? I love that sign now. I guarantee you all, if you ride by it now, it's going to hit you a little different when you see it. That's my goal. I want you to ride by and see these historical things from our people. And you're like, you know what? Damn. Orange Mound really is a prominent, but you look at it, many people, we know the reputation of Orange Mound right now. It's not known for having a lot of money. It's known for being a rough neighborhood, which should be a proud place for many of us to dwell in. All right, so 1963. Let's understand what poverty is first, right? I want you to introduce you all to this lady. You know, it's an old pic. She was born in 1915. You all apologize, right? So in 1915, Mrs. Molly Orshansky was born. Jewish lady. So she determined the poverty line, right? This is 1963. So it hasn't been updated since then. I wonder why. Because if you update it now, many Americans are in poverty. Most of us, I would say 85% of Americans in poverty based off. If you update the list. Let's get into it. So some that was in my notes, y'all. I'm sorry about this. But poverty was determined by the ability to buy groceries, right? Based off the number of people in your household. They didn't include because the inflation of rent and the cost of living homes and buying houses hadn't inflated. Food costs more than rent and mortgage at this time. So that determined if you were poor. Now, the thing that's not included in poverty are benefits. Many people in Memphis receive benefits, right? And when we say the thing that goes with benefits, we're talking about the Democratic Party. Because many in Memphis feel like the benefits that we receive are going to help us. We know the truth of this is creating a better economy, creating better jobs, better training. All of these things are included in fighting poverty. I just wanted you all to remember, because so many people, we feel like we hear this like Memphis is one of the poorest cities in the country. And we just like, yeah, man, Memphis is hurting. And it makes you feel terrible about yourself. You don't even know why they call us one of the poorest cities in the country. We don't even ask why, where they get this information from. Now, I want to share this story because I know you guys don't like to hear me. Even though I'm hitting you with the truth and give you all the game right now that you need, you all like to hear other people tell you these things. So let's talk about this, and I'll get into something that's going on in St. Louis to tackle poverty right after this.
As we have been constantly reporting to you over the past year, youth crime in Memphis has skyrocketed.
So we wanted to know the driving force behind this problem, and one expert says it all boils down to poverty. Action News 5's Tavarius Haywood has details.
A University of Memphis professor says Memphis has some of the richest white people in the country. At the same time, it also has some of the poorest black people in the country. With the lack of inequality, she says crime.
Really? Did you all hear that? Let's take that back, because based off what I told you, what happened to Orange Mound?
Memphis has some of the richest white people in the country. At the same time, it also has some of the poorest black people in the country.
Why? Let's just pause there. Why? Somebody tell me why. I want to just pause there. Why do we have some of the richest white people in the country? And we have some of the poorest blacks in the country. Somebody explain it. How that happens in a city that 75% of the population died. No one was here. It wasn't even deemed a city, it was deemed a district. And all of a sudden, the white people in Memphis, and I'm not trying to create a race war. It's something I'm just trying to wake people up about what's happening. Somebody explain to me how that is, right? Because I know why. You know why. We all know what's going on here, and it's still going on, right? Keep on, keep going. Let the story continue.
With the lack of inequality, she says crime is bound to happen. The poverty rate among black youth in the city of Memphis is slightly over 37%, and about 5% of white youth live in poverty.
Some children are living in very primitive conditions, not even in the 21st century.
University of Memphis social work professor Elena De La Vega says when basic life needs are not met, unfortunately, people will go to the extreme to meet that need.
That inequality leads to a lot of frustration and anger, and that leads to mental health issues and more crime.
Part of the
Y'all like to hear from her instead of me, right? I can be quiet and let the lady talk. The lady with an accent, who's I don't know if there's an accent. She ain't from Memphis. She ain't from where I'm from. So you can hear it from her, or you can hear it from me. I understand where these problems come from because all of this is documented. They understand the wage gap, right? We'll get to this. It's all gonna come full circle, right? We're talking about poverty. And then we understand, like I said, I get to the matter bus situation because who it affects. And for all of you who love to vote Democrat, benefits don't help.
problem in Memphis, people not earning a livable wage. Pastor Earl Fisher agrees.
It is much easier to get access to guns and drugs than it is to get access to, for parents, jobs that pay livable wages and other governmental resources.
Fisher says his church in Whitehaven has been on the front line advocating for funding for schools to improve resources for students.
We are a ministry and an organization that has to meet the spiritual needs, but also being conscious of how spiritual needs overlap with social needs.
To be fair, De La Vega says the poverty rate did decrease during COVID, but believes if the poverty rate doesn't drop, we can't expect crime to go up.
We need to make sure that it's a community for everyone and in which everyone has opportunity and everyone has access to the goods of society.
When I hear this, right, people say, we got to make sure that we have good jobs. I say it too, but it's like, I'm not really in the position that some of these people are, right? They can really make a change. Like, okay, how are we going to do that, though, right? Because something's happening. There's a reason behind this. I'll give you all the numbers, right? And it's alarming at the amount of money that's being made by each black household.
Pastor Fisher has this message for elected officials.
Some of the decisions that have to be made are going to be unpopular. You might not get elected to 2 terms, but you might be able to actually enact and implement the types of programs and policies that are needed to improve the conditions. But we don't seem to have a lot of people with that level of political courage right now.
De La Vega is planning to release a new poverty.
This was done before Paul Young got in office, y'all. Let's hope he has a plan to help solve these things.
Report sometime later this year, and like I said, she is expecting the poverty rate in youth to increase. Now, this is part of an ongoing conversation at WMC about getting to the root of youth crime here in the city of Memphis and what's being.
That's funny to me when they say youth in poverty. Like, right, the youth is in poverty because the parents don't make enough money. That's simple, right? I hear you that. I did say all of this in episode 1, 2, 3, 4. I said these things in every episode, and I remember that, the vicious cycle of things. But I wanted to tell you all about this. So, the governor in St. Louis is trying to help families that are in need. And like I said, I'm not for all of these benefits because money comes from somewhere. And understand that the money they're using, it's not going to come out of their pockets, right? It's going to come out of ours. But for some reason, for it to be so many hardworking people, tax-paying people, why are so many people in poverty? Now, the mayor of St. Louis, black sister, right? St. Louis is trying to help poverty by doing this. St. Louis is launching a program that seeks to help low-income families by providing them with $500 monthly payments, $500 in monthly payments for 18 months, right? Program is a signature priority for the mayor, is that Tashara Jones, who said Tuesday that the money will go to hundreds of city households. She believes it will help rebuild the neighborhoods and prevent the root causes of crime. Do you all agree with this? Well, I don't know where the money's coming from, but it would be nice, but I don't see how that's going to really stop what we have going on here. It would be nice, though, to get $500. Because many people are going to say, nah, we don't really need that. How does that help solve crime? They may just mess the money off, right? But I prefer this over doing nothing. The true route to fix these things is to create better jobs. And we're going to get to that when I discuss the situation with the Matterbus in Memphis. Well, yeah, so St. Louis is trying to stop these things by giving out $500 a month. That's quite generous of the system, right? I don't know what Memphis is doing. It would be nice because last I checked, Memphis is higher on the poverty list than St. Louis. So, just something to think about. Now, I got another fact here for you all that may alarm a few people, right? Okay. So, this was done by a census report on the poverty in Memphis, right? And they talked about the average household income. So, the average household income of a white family in Memphis, this was done in 2022, was $76,861, right? Significantly more than the black households. Black households see $41,974 per household. Now, here's the thing that's gonna pretty much knock you off your rocker. Hispanic families, 60,000. So 76,000 for white families, 60,000 for Hispanic families, and 41,000 for black families. Now, how you all feel about that? Knowing with the history I gave you of doctors and lawyers moving to Orange Mound, this being the only place in the economy, how Memphis was, the state that it was in, how we built it. Also, I'm sorry, I'm so distracted by these important facts that I'm trying to get out. Hit the like button for the mob, y'all. Show that love. Show that love. But yeah, how do we get there? Somebody holler at me, man. I gotta give y'all the facts right here, right? Because I don't think many people know that. Who knew? Who knows? These things I talk about these things all the time with people who care. And I don't think they understand the average household income of the Hispanic community who came here years, decades after us. 60,000. 41,000 for the black home. 76,000 for white families. And do people think that's caused by people just not wanting to make money? Or do we think that the black community in Memphis is lazy? Or is it something else going on here, y'all? Somebody help me out. You can call us. Let me put the call line in. Because I want to know, how did we get here? Just my question. And I just got all the facts. If somebody can help me out. See, these are things we got to focus on now. Matterbus situation, right? Matter, remember I reported this. Remember everybody was like, why does Matter? Matter got like $72 million, right? Now, bus routes are being eliminated. And you understand who that affects, people that are in poverty. They're taking these out right now, right? Let's see, we got eliminated. Airport got eliminated, Walnut Grove, Perkins, Madison, the Madison trolley, Valentine, Shelby Drive and Holmes. Come on, y'all. We know who's affected by this. All right, let's get to the story. because I got 3 stories to show y'all. It's going to be quick, but all pertain because I want you all to pay attention to something.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and thanks for joining us tonight at 5. First off, longtime MATA riders are fed up with long wait times and poor conditions on buses and at bus stops. Tonight, they want answers.
The Transit Authority promising significant upgrades from a multi-million-dollar federal grant. Jay Shakur joins us live from the MATA bus terminal in downtown Memphis. Jay, now a large portion of the Shelby County population depends on MATA to get where they need to go.
Rudy Pepper, MATA travels about 5 million passengers, has 5 million passenger rides within a year, traveling across 280 square miles within a year. And one rider I spoke to today says
Memphis is geographically huge, a lot bigger than most cities. So to understand what the MATA bus system really does for the city, a lot of people depend on this to get everywhere that they need, everywhere. And we know, when I say a lot of people, we know what people.
Despite the promise of new bus routes and new buses, her wait time has doubled.
Caution, bus is turning.
This is a very important bus system for people. So my thing is, make sure that ridership comes first. People have to be at work early in the morning. So at 7 o'clock, if the bus don't show up to 7:30, that means people are late.
For Cynthia Bailey and thousands of other riders each day, MATA is their critical lifeline to get from point A to point B. Bailey, who relied on MATA for 3 decades, says reliability is at an all-time low.
This is the worst that I ever experienced. I'm not sure, is it because of the management team or it's just the scheduling and route planning?
Other MATA riders agreed, outlining what they view as poor communication with drivers and constantly delayed routes.
One time I sit on the bus stop for an hour and 45 minutes, taking my daughter to school, and the bus be late, my daughter get tired.
Though MATA improved its digital communication in recent years, riders said that's also not always reliable.
That's convenient, unless you don't have access to that type of technology, or you don't know how to use that technology. And when you call in on an automated system, it doesn't work. It's been down for over a year.
In August of 20.
Right, so the automated system's been down for over a year. You wait for 2 hours to get where you need it, right? So this was before all of the changes came about. People were complaining. So keep in mind, watch this.
In 2022, MATA announced 4 grants from the Department of Transportation, totaling nearly $140 million.
So MATA got $140 million in grant money to improve these things. Now, I just showed you all the bus routes that were eliminated. Something's not adding up here, right?
$54 million was said to be for new operations and maintenance facilities, $22 million for new clean electric buses, and about $64 million to connect routes from downtown to the medical.
That's a lot of damn money, right?
District and the University of Memphis area. But Bailey says nearly 8 months later, she sees no meaningful change.
Where is the money at? We don't see where the money going. They say they received the money, and we did have community meetings about it, but now everybody's in puzzle, like, how's the money really spending?
Now, we reached out to MATA. Its CEO sent a statement which said,
okay, so that happened, right? Right? Because it's crazy how much money they got in the beginning, right? You see what that money was used for. Nothing. So that was before this.
MATA customers are still waiting painfully long to get from one place to another.
The agency says a staffing shortage is to blame. WRD investigator Jessica Gertler has been pressing for answers for months on just how short-staffed it is and the impact it's having on.
So if you got $142 million, right? How are you short-staffed? Wouldn't that be enough money to hire better people? Watch this. You guys got to see. Y'all got to see this.
Reliable service.
Right now, I've been waiting 30, maybe 40 minutes for a bus.
A wait Vernon Watson says he's come to expect when he goes grocery shopping along Poplar Avenue in Midtown.
It's typical. On Sundays, much worse. We're talking about maybe a 2-hour wait.
Leaving him very frustrated.
A lot of times if I'm not carrying too much, I just walk home and I will beat the bus there. And that should never happen.
Thankfully, on this day, he didn't have to.
Man says he walks home and beats the bus to his house. Where'd the money go, though? That's what I'm scared wondering. I'm not all about the money. I'm all about my people, man. Come on, bro. Y'all make life is not, if life ain't hard enough, you got people trying to make an honest living to ride the bus. This causes people to say, you know, the hell with that bus. I'm about to get it however I can. I mean, you got all these jobs that fire you for being tardy. I don't think people really understand the struggles of the Memphian who is trying to do good. Once you get behind in Memphis, your ass is going to stay behind. Your ass is going to stay behind.
To do that, a bus eventually showed up. Like thousands across Memphis, Watson relies on public transportation to go everywhere. The grocery store, the doctor's office, and work. He says since the onset of COVID, service has been beyond bleak. Do you think this is the worst you've seen it?
If not, I can compare it to the worst.
People are standing, waiting on buses, and some buses are not showing up.
Or showing up late. Sammy Hunter with the Memphis Bus Riders Union says countless riders have complained.
It's unacceptable for the bus riders to go through what they're going through.
The Memphis Area Transit Authority admits it's not meeting its goals when it comes to reliable service.
It's a work in progress.
CEO Gary Rosenfeld blames a staffing shortage.
Now, he blames the staffing shortage. Watch what he said.
It's been exacerbated by the pandemic.
He says the pandemic impacted the workforce, from staff contracting or being exposed to COVID to more employees retiring early.
Now, when people are hitting retirement age, they're giving it serious consideration.
To top it off, there's a nationwide shortage of commercial drivers, a problem every transit agency is facing. Rosenfeld says to compete with other transportation companies in the Mid-South, they've increased wages, offered sign-on bonuses.
No, you didn't. You increased it, but how much? Did you make it competitive? Because these people are working for the city. And we know this is a shit job. Let's just be honest, bro. You're overworking it, long hours. People don't understand how big Memphis is in comparison to some of these cities y'all think are bigger than us or have more people than us. They may have a higher population, but Memphis is big enough to fit St. Louis, Boston, Newark, all these cities all within it. Can you believe it? Little poor ass Memphis. So when you're a bus driver for Memphis, and it's a poor city with people depending on you, you have so many routes, you're probably underpaid. I know you're underpaid. Watch this.
And training programs, but he says it's only done so much.
People can take a job with far less responsibility and earn almost as much as what they might here at MATA or other transportation companies.
Rosenfeld pulled up.
You work for the city. You have the money. So why is it so easy to compete with the salary for a MATA bus driver? If it's so important to the transportation of the city, why not pay them a lot more? He's going to say why he can't. Now keep this in mind. Watch this.
Staffing numbers during our interview in September.
I can get you an up-to-date number.
At that point, he told us there were 89 openings in every category. Mechanics who inspect buses to get them back on the street, bus and trolley operators, even administrative staff. He says they hired 154 people this year, 46.
See, I told you. It's a shit job. That's all it is. You 154 people, you work for the city, you should have good benefits, good pay. If you had a better pay, you wouldn't have this high of a turnover rate. They have the money, but there's something to the money that they gave them. They would rather the money go towards the buses and the tires and the equipment than to the people. Watch this.
It's already left. WREG submitted an open records request on September 3rd to get a breakdown of staffing levels now and at the start of COVID, to give you a better idea of the staffing shortage MATA claims to have. It's information other public agencies quickly provided. We received this letter, MATA refusing to provide that information. Its attorney later adding, MATA has no employees, that all transit personnel are employed by Mid-South Transportation Management Incorporated, meaning MATA has a contract with a private company to oversee employees. And that private company decides what to release. MTM was willing to share some information. As of October 31st, it had 47 operator and 14 mechanic positions open. As of January 2020, 186 employees left MATA, including 9 who retired. A majority, you can see, were bus operators.
High turnover rate. Think you need some improvements? You need better management? This is a city, but it's a private organization making the money over the money. It's easy to see, man. It's very easy to see.
What do we need to do? I mean, because schedules aren't going to go back to normal anytime soon.
We need to ensure that we're operating as efficiently as possible, and that's a daily chore that we go through here at MATA.
MATA reports compared to last year, it's seeing more riders every month. More riders who expect and rely on dependable service. Jessica Gertler, WRAG News Channel 3.
Now, MATA has said that it's been advertising online and participating in job fairs. And by the way, if you are interested in a job, we put more information on this story on our website.
Now, you know what's going on there. You know what's going on there, bruh. You understand the conditions are terrible. If that's a good job with great pay and great benefits, why the high turnover rate? You don't see that happening at the railroad station because they got great pay and great benefit. You can't even get a job at the railroad station. People retire from there. Most people are leaving. You got older people that had great benefits, been working at the MATA bus for years. I'm talking years and years, decades. Then they're leaving. Now you got this new shit pay. The new situation is bad, so you got to update the system. I got one more, right?
Well, soon it may be harder to get around town on a MATA bus. Under a new proposal, several routes would be suspended and there would be no bus rides after 7 p.m. MATA is getting your feedback on all this all month long. Our Shay Simon went to.
So the CEO of MATA said that there was a staffing shortage, right? Keep this.
One of those meetings today to learn more. And Shay, you found out that some people are not happy about this.
Yes, Stephanie, that's right. We are here downtown, and you can see just how busy it is here. MATA says these new changes will cut costs and also address some rider issues. But one woman I spoke to.
So they got money. They got money in eliminated bus routes to cut cost issues. Gotcha. I'll shut up.
Says these changes will actually do the opposite for people who are relying on MATA every day.
Then had to figure out how I'm gonna get home in the evening. That's a problem.
A problem with MATA buses that Joyce Simelton says she will be directly affected by.
You tell me these people got to walk an hour and a half or 2 hours to try to get to a 52 Jackson or have to walk over a bridge.
Hey, y'all, that type of stuff, that type of lifestyle increases crime. When you got to walk 2 hours to get to the grocery store. I know y'all saying, hey, I don't ride the bus. I got a car. Hey, Holiday, this story has nothing to do with me. That's the problem. That's the problem. You only care about what affects you directly. I care about what affects my people. Because people that are in position to change these things don't care about people, right? That's why we made the mob. Gentrification all day.
MATA's winter service proposal, Route 37, that Simelton and others in the Raleigh area use, it will be suspended, along with several other routes in both the Madison and Riverfront trolleys.
Our ridership has not recovered since the pandemic. It's still lower than we would like it to be.
Because of that, Chief Development Officer John Lancaster says no.
Is that the same dude off the last story, y'all? I can't tell these older white men. It's kind of... He looked like, I think he had glasses on the last clip. Yeah, but this same story. Same excuses as to why this is happening.
Rides after 7 o'clock p.m., fewer routes, and longer waits could be ahead starting December 3rd.
We're going into the winter time, so it's going to be cold, and our riders have been sharing with us too, that waiting on the street for an extra hour to catch a bus or something, it's not a good thing.
I think they have hard choices to make. I mean, nobody's going to be happy. It's just tough.
I asked about the
poor matter. It's just tough on them making those decisions with $140 million, and you just don't know what to do with it, right?
$76 million Matter received in federal dollars this year. He says that money only allows for capital improvements, not salaries or bus services.
Did you all hear that? See, I had to play the other two to get to this part. I know people are impatient, but that was the cream filling right there, y'all. So all of that money that was given cannot be given to the workers. Did you see the turnover rate? Because when they signed up for it, they were like, no. We said better buses. We said better tires. We said better heating. We didn't say better pay. Who are you trying to pay with our money? You trying to improve? We know who's working down in Memphis. So do not increase their salary. You know why they can do this? Because you don't give a damn, because you don't ride the bus. But it's a trickle-down effect of things like these. It affects us all. But you care when your car's being broken into. You care when you can't go to a certain club when they busting your windshields out, because that's a result of poverty. And those people who are giving this money out don't give a damn, because it doesn't affect them. Trust me. It doesn't affect them. So who would pass this to say, improve the tires, improve the engine, but don't improve the pay? How is this allowed? And now we're talking to pretty much the CEO. And he runs the entire company. He's like, I can't do it. The money that was given to me was told I was given orders. By who, sir? Who signed off on this? Because if you work for the city and you have a lack of workers, it's simple. You need better pay, better benefits. You work for the city, you have the budget. So what sense does it make to have a nice, shiny bus if you don't have any damn body to drive it? And that shiny bus is 2 hours behind on a single mother who's trying to go to the doctor or get groceries for her kids. Now the kids are at home hungry. Mama's been home, away from home for 3 hours. You got kidnapping going on. You got crime. All of these things play effect. It's a trickle-down effect. It's just something for y'all to think about. I love when let me take that back, because I want y'all to hear that, though, because he's going to say something else, too.
Asked about the $76 million Matter received in federal dollars this year, he says that money only allows for capital improvements, not salaries or bus services.
We actually never actually receive it. It passes through us when we actually pay a contractor or somebody to build something for us, or when we buy a bus, it goes to the bus manufacturer. So that's I think a big misconception that a lot of people have, that just, they think we have this money, but we really don't.
For
Man. I just had to be quiet. The elected officials, man, y'all let me down so much. And I'm not even going to say the people who don't give a damn, first of all, let me down. We can't keep letting these things happen, y'all. It's affecting us all. I don't give a damn if you got a Lamborghini in your driveway. If you live here, you work here, that Lamborghini may get broken in too. Now you're going to blame, what? Crime is just terrible. We hate this crime. There are other factors that make these people do these things, man. We got to be more conscious of what's going on. Because when you hungry, you don't give a damn about what's in front of you. You're going to go through it, bro. No matter what, I got to get it. So you understand that Memphis is, like I said, we understand the economy of Memphis. Memphis is a poverty-stricken city. So with you knowing that, why would you give 46 million, 76, they keep changing the number, 146 million, whatever million, and not increase the salary for people that have jobs? Because we need better careers and better jobs to go to families, because black households right now are making 40,000, right? Roughly. And we know 6 to 8% of the population of Memphis is black. So let's help them out, bro. Let's help each other out. Speak about these things.
Writing out these proposed changes will not be easy.
If the people is looking for a service and you're not giving them that service, then what the city gonna do?
Well, to be clear, this is not a done deal.
She said it's not a done deal. They got to sign it off, and it'll go into effect December 3rd. Trust me, it's going to effect, y'all. Unless we say something. But who's really going to speak up for the people that catch the Matter bus? Who cares? This may be my lowest view show. I know I ain't really like CNN or nobody, but trust me, people going to be like, oh, he's talking about the bus. Damn about the Matter bus. Give a damn about the Matter bus. It don't affect me. I'm trying to tell you how it does. And RP said lots of construction, closing of schools and community centers, increased police presence, lack of stores and resources, and white lady walking the do. He's saying these are things that show you that the signs of gentrification has begun. It's an ugly word, guy. Give me some time. But yeah, true. Very true. Very true. People are being forced out of certain areas. But it's just, you gotta see do you see the vicious cycle of things? That those who approved the budget for the bus system didn't increase the salary. And when you ask about things like, okay, what about jobs? You're like, well, what do you want us to do, Holiday? How are we gonna make better jobs for people? This is my example. Just one of many, where those who receive all millions of dollars and things don't put the money towards people that need it. And we're talking about the working class people. You're not going to help the working class of a city. How the hell is the economy going to get better? Well, you make minimum wage in Tennessee, like I reported, you have to work 72 hours to pay for one bedroom, yeah. See, these are things that I like to talk about. Probably why I can't get certain people to come on the mob and do an interview. We'll get them done. All right. Oh, yeah, white lady walking the dog. I hear you, bro. Facts. We seeing that in Orange Mound right now. We seeing that. A lot of homes in Orange Mound. Orange Mound is going to look a little different in 20 years. And imagine that story when you tell your kids, like, wow, Orange Mound used to be a black neighborhood. Orange Mound used to be prominent black. Can you imagine if Harlem was owned by anybody besides? I don't even know. Is Harlem owned, black owned still? I've never been to New York. But to imagine that these prominent places like Harlem, Orange Mound, we don't own them, we got to wake up. Because they represent something for our people. So. Right. And the poverty line, man, just throw that out. When you hear that people are in poverty, that's outdated, man. Trust me, bro. The entire country is in poverty right now. Everybody is. You just got to be more conscious of what we're doing. Everybody except the whites in Memphis. I wonder how they make so much money. I wonder who they make the money off of. Sounds like slavery. All over again. Yeah, old Dedrick is still out here some kind of way. It's all systemic. And people going to say, stop pushing the race agenda, Holiday. No. Until we see changes. Because it's looking like 1888 in Memphis right about now. We're talking about resources, income, all of these things, bro. So, got one more thing that you all know. For y'all who constantly have your lights being off, MLGNW has a new boss, Doug McGowan. I wonder how much Doug makes. See, people like Doug are those white families that make so much money in Memphis. But you'll never see Doug at a gas station or grocery store or anything in Orange Mound. But he may buy some property there. I'm not saying Doug specifically. I'm just saying individuals like Doug. And I know people don't like when I say things like that. It's the truth. And it's the mob. And I'm your boy Holiday. And I continue to keep it real no matter what. The truth hurts and it kills you to listen. Yep, it was. All right, you all, I hope I gave you all something to fight for. Something to be proud of. Something to grow on. Something to improve. You just got to wake up. And we got to fight for others, that things that don't directly affect us, because ultimately in the end, they will and they do. And especially for people who have children. You got to think, no matter what, your kids, if they move to Nashville, Florida, they can move to Canada. They'll always have Memphis ties. They'll always have some sort of family here. So let's get it right. Till next Wednesday, I am the custodian of Memphis. And we the mob. Memphis Over Bull. I see y'all next week, 6 p.m. Don't be late. I got plenty of things to say. It's the mob. We out.